I'm here from Bay House School. I'm just teaching some year 8s to make pine and upside down pudding. They've also got about 20 questions which I'm also going to go through the answers. So the first question is what type of I've got the wrong sheet here. That's funny. So the first question is, what do we do after drying our hands out? Is put the oven on, because we want the oven on straight away. So I'm putting on 180, gas mark 4. Then I'm going to get my tins. You're only going to get one tin, I'm doing 2, so you can all have a taste, because there's about 25 of them in the class, so that's why I'm doing 2. So you're only going to get 1. Now these are sort of like, I call these the Chinese foil containers. You could make this in any type of dish you like, a ramekin or like a sandwich tin if you're making this at home. Now I'm going to put a little bit of paper in, and this will be cut up for you. To get it out, I'm going to put a little bit of paper in the bottom. Right, so I'm going to cut it, and this will be cut ready for you, so you don't have to cut this. So, and I'm far quicker cutting with a knife than a pair of scissors. So when it turns out and the syrup gets cold, it won't turn out very easily. So if I put a little bit of syrup, a bit of paper in the bottom, it will hopefully get out. So come in the bottom here. Now I'm going to do 1 pineapple, because some people don't like pineapple, so I'm going to do 1 pineapple, 1 apple. So 1 ring of pineapple, 1 glacé cherry, and then this one also is going to get some syrup in it. Now obviously if you don't like pineapple, we can have some apple. That's the main thing we're going to have as an alternative. But a tablespoon or so of syrup. Now with the apple, this is one of the questions further down, is what's apple cake called? So if it's at the bottom, normally it's called Eve's pudding. You're also getting cafes a lot now, one called like apple Dorset cake, and it's got sultanas as well as apple in it. So I'm going to put some apple in the bottom. And if I put it in here, I don't need to put lemon juice on it, because you get the exemic browning, which means the apple goes brown. That's not one of the questions. That would have been a good question, but we're doing pineapple, not apple. But really, I should have slipped that one in there. You don't have to put any syrup in, or you can do if you want to. Maybe I'll put a little bit of syrup in this. So normally it wouldn't have syrup in, but I'll put a little bit of syrup in. Now I'm also going to put apple on the top of this. Now I'm going to make the sponge now. I've got in here enough for two, because I've got 2 eggs. And these eggs are roughly 50 grams each. That's 100 grams of eggs. Now you can crack them in a separate bowl if you like, if you're worried about the shell, or if you're worried about them not being very good. Now where I've got raw egg on my hand, I'm going to wash my hands quickly, because I've got a little bit of raw egg on my hand, yeah? Otherwise I contaminate the outside of the whisk. Now with this, you whisk it up full speed, and in here there's 4 ingredients. The 4 ingredients are egg, sugar, self-raising flour, cast soy, eggs, caster sugar, self-raising flour, and margarine or butter. There's 100 grams of each. You'll need to write it down if you can find it on there. Don't worry if you can't. I will go through the questions at the end. As well as whisking this on high speed, I'm moving it around. Where I've got all the ingredients in together, this is called the all-in-one method. Don't worry about the questions too much if you can't do them, because we can do these at the end. So then I bring the whisk out a little bit, but not too much, tap it on the side, and turn the whisk off, yeah? Now I'm done. So all I have to do is, with the spatula, which is in your drawer, this is probably about the hardest part of the lesson, is being able to scrape this out and not leave any mixture in. Now normally what I do is I have a little bit of a competition, and you show me your bowl at the end, and I can work out how much sponge is left in here. So I can do that by you show me your bowl, then you go and wash it up, then I weigh it again, I weigh it once, then I weigh it again, then I can see. So with the spatula, you'll need to do it like a windscreen wipe and scrape it round so the whole bowl looks nice and clean. So I'm going to show that on the camera. So the bowl, my bowl, was got about 3 or 4 grams of cakelet mixture back in it. So you shouldn't have any more than 10 grams of cake mixture, because that's wasting it. So put it all in, spread it around, and then they go in the oven. So as you can see, that doesn't take too long. Now one of the questions is why don't we want the oven too hot? Where there's a lot of sponge here, not like the little fairy cakes, this won't be cooked in the middle. So make sure it's not on the outside. These go in. Yeah, these go in the oven. Now you'll need to make sure, oh, I forgot one more important thing which I was talking about earlier. So when these all come out, where they're all the school dishes and they all look the same, you'll need some labels, and you'll need to write your name on it straight away before it goes in the oven. So maybe we should do that first. So I'm going to put Mr. B on there, Mr. B, and then when they all come out the oven, and they might not all come out at the same time, and some might come out when the bell's going. So they'll be too hot to put the labels on, because you don't want to put the labels on then. So that's one of the questions, by the way, about the labels. So in the oven, top shelf, and where they're rectangle, I'm going to pretend these are 2 dishes here. Where this oven is 60 centimetres, you can get 2 on the top shelf. So you can get 4 sponges on the top shelf, so they should be cooked. Now I'm going to do the questions. Obviously, you're going to be washing up next week. Now, what I'm going to do, Miss, I haven't decided this, Miss, you know where they're in the oven, Miss, next week. I reckon if they're done early, then I'm going to quickly demonstrate something else, like a mug cake or something similar. Because I reckon, I forgot something here. Where I'm doing the apple cake, I did say I'd put some on top as well. So this one, now hopefully I don't know which one's which now, because I've put syrup in both. I think this is the apple one. I'm going to put the apple on top. So you can either put it on top, on the bottom, or a bit of both, yeah? So I'm going to just put it on here to use the whole apple. Well, I've used like not even a whole apple up. That's only about 2/3 of an apple, and I've got it on the top and on the bottom, right? You can actually chop it up, grate it, put it inside. There's some cinnamon. Miss got me some cinnamon out. I could put a little bit of cinnamon in as well, because apple goes well with cinnamon. Okay, so we're just going to go through the questions now. What do we do after washing our hands? Put the oven on, because it takes a few minutes for the oven to heat up, at least 10 minutes, so that's an important thing. Why don't we turn the oven too hot? Because it won't be cooked in the middle. Obviously it will burn, but what happens is it'll go golden brown, you'll think it's cooked and it'll be raw in the middle. You need to write it down. Have you written that one down? Thank you. What is the advantage of using the whisk? So years ago, they didn't have electric whisks. I don't know how long they've been invented for, but when I was a child, we didn't have an electric whisk at home. We had to beat it by hand, so you had to cream the sugar and the butter, which we'll go through in a minute. Name 7 different cakes, so I'm going to name pine upside down cake, Eve's pudding, or the apple cake that I've made here. We could also have chocolate cake, sticky toffee pudding, cherry cake, Madeira cake, Victoria sandwich, and let me think of a couple more. So I'm just going to think of some different, blueberry cake's quite well known, you know, like blueberry muffins, they're like quite popular. Lemon cakes, lemon drizzle cake, banana cake, there's loads of different cakes, yeah. So with this sponge you can put in about 50 different flavours. And some things go together, like apple and blackberry, apple and cinnamon, salted caramel. That's enough on the cakes. What is apple cake called? It can be called more than these 2, but I'm going to say either Eve's pudding or apple Dorset cake, or Dorset apple cake. Why don't we give out almonds? Maybe because of the allergies. That's one of the 14 allergies. So can you write allergies, and can you put one of the 14? Almonds, by the way, are called tree nuts. They're slightly different than peanuts. So some people are allergic to peanuts and almonds, but some are only allergic to one of the type. What do we need to do with the foil tins? We need to label them before they go in the oven. I'll let you catch up a little bit. What are the 4 main ingredients of the cake? So we have butter or margarine, caster sugar, self-raising flour, and eggs. What is the amount of each ingredient? Equal amounts. So if you have, an egg is roughly 50 grams. So if I've used 2 eggs, it'll be 100 grams of each. You'll be getting 50 grams of everything and 1 egg, because you'll be making 1 tin next week. How heavy is a medium egg? By law, they have to be between 53 and 63 degrees. Not degrees, grams. If it's over 63, it's a large egg. If it's under 53, it will be classed as a small egg. 43 to 53 is a small egg. What are the numbers on an egg apart from the best before date? So on an egg, you get the best before date. That's worked out by a month from when the actual egg's been laid. So if the egg was laid, if it's got laid, it goes out a date tomorrow. That was laid exactly a month ago, 28 days I think it is. Now the other numbers are, there's a batch number from which is the farm it's from, and there's also some other numbers, which is 0, 1, 2 and 3. And the 0, so you'll need to write this, 0 means organic. Can you write 0 means organic? 1, where it's on number 11, number 11, 1 equals organic, 0 organic, 1 free range, 2 barn, 3 caged. A lot of the supermarkets don't do caged anymore because they think it's unethical. What are the 5 methods of cake? What are the 5 methods of cake? So on here, I think this is written them on the board. So this is the all-in-one method, which we've just done. But years ago, when you had hard butter, they didn't have electric whisk. You had to cream the butter and the sugar together, then add the egg, then fold in the flour. That's called the creaming method. So that's the next one. Then another one is when you make scones or rock cakes or pastry. Don't worry about the questions, just do what you can, because I'm just mainly doing it for the video. The reason I'm doing the video, if there's lots of people absent, by the way, I put this on and you're still going to do the questions. And you won't be able to answer the questions. You can answer the questions by watching the video. The other methods are flapjack, because when you do flapjack, you have oats and syrup. Now, syrup is really, really thick, and you wouldn't be able to stir the oats in it. So you heat the syrup up, which is called the melting method, and then you add the oats and you can stir them nice and easily. That's what's called the melting. And then also you melt margarine as well. So we've got the whisking method, Swiss roll. So I think year 9s are making Swiss roll. You whisk the sugar and the egg up, then you add the flour. It doesn't have any fat in it. I will go through these again after the video. So this is part 2, number 1 of part 2. What is the name associated with the measurements of distance that the food travels? Now the reason we've got this question is these pineapples, and if I read on it, I don't think I've got my glasses, but it probably comes from Africa or somewhere similar, so it's come about 4,000 miles. And obviously that's called something. Who knows? The 4,000 miles is called food miles. So that's how far it's travelled here. So when you go to Asda's, that doesn't mean, I know you bought it from Asda's, but it's actually travelled all that way. And it's not very good for the environment because a plane or a ship has bought it here and it's used lots of fuel. Yeah, so that's why it's better to buy local stuff like apples, because apples grow in England. What is it called when the food travels from and to? So on the board here, we've got here either the field to the fork or the farm to the fork, and we've got the food miles, which is the question before. What other 3 fruits can be used except pineapples? There's hundreds that could be used. Obviously apple, banana, blueberries, pear. I think we'll probably get you apple for the people that don't like pineapple. Don't talk, but just put your hand up if you don't like pineapple. Quite a few pupils don't like pineapple. Let me just count, you don't have to tell me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, is there a hand up there? No, 4, only 4, that's not too bad. In some other classes, lots of people don't like it. How do we tell if the cake is cooked all the way through? There's several ways. One, it should be golden brown. One, you can put a skewer in it and you put it in and you bring it out and it should come out clean. Or you can push the top of it and it shouldn't sink, it should sponge back up. That's 3 different ways, yeah? This is quite thick, this. When you get little fairy cakes, they're rarely not cooked in the middle. But where this is a big cake, it's less likely to be cooked in the middle. So we do need to make sure it's cooked in the middle. Now what we can do, if it looks brown enough and it's not cooked, we can put a tray over the top of it and move it down in the oven. Then it won't go so brown so much, but then it would carry on cooking. What are the ingredients that go into a coronation quiche? So that is because when we first did this, the coronation was going on. I made one of these, by the way. That normally has broad beans, spinach and red onion in it, especially the broad beans, which is a very unusual thing in the quiche. What is the traditional filling of Victoria sandwich? Now that would normally have either strawberry, raspberry jam and maybe buttercream or cream. Give 3 health and safety rules followed when cooking pineapple cake. So 1, it's going to be very hot when it comes out and the syrup will burn you. So we use the oven cloth folded in half. We will need to get a cooling rack out ready, so when we get it out we don't burn the top. We do not get oven cloths wet, and we do not use them for washing up. And we definitely don't flick tea towels, because I told somebody off in my last class they were making scones, not this, but that's the same rule. How can you upskill this? With sponge you can do loads and loads of different things. You can cut it out in an unusual shape. You can make little sponges, roll them in jam and coconut. I think they're called madeleines. They're really nice. Maybe if I wasn't videoing it I would have made them. The first thing is now we're going all the way back to the beginning for the ingredients. So the ingredients are 50 grams of each and 1 egg. So self-raising flour, caster sugar, margarine or butter, and 1 egg. The skills, making sure that we scrape the bowl out is probably the hardest skill. Obviously using the whisk safely, washing up, drying up. In my last class, loads of people didn't have hot water, didn't have the bowls upside down, that's all skills. Now the last one is, this is the retrieval, which is a starter from the last lesson. 5 good things about potatoes. So I'm going to name you 10, then you can just write 5 of them down. So I'm going to give you 5 nutritional things. So they're healthy, but you can't write they're healthy, you need to say why they're healthy. They're high in fibre, especially if you eat the skins. They're high in slow burning carbohydrate. They are high in vitamin C. They are low in fat unless you fry them or put butter on them. And let me think of one other thing. So they're not classed as one of your 5-a-day potatoes because even though they are reasonably healthy. So that's only 4 I've said. Now they're cheap. You can buy them anywhere. You can have them hot or cold. So you can have them as obviously roast potatoes or potato salad. You can have them for breakfast, e.g. hash browns. You can buy them anywhere. You can grow them. You can get different types of potatoes. So you can get Maris Piper potatoes. You can get new potatoes. You can get red potatoes. You can get sweet potatoes. Let me think of a couple more for them. Oh, put your hand up if you don't like potatoes of any type. None. So that's a real good thing about them. They're really popular. They're probably one of the very few foods that if I said to you, so if I said hands up if you don't like mushrooms, hands up if you don't like mushrooms, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 don't like mushrooms, but everybody likes potatoes. They might not like a certain type of potato, but they like them cooked in most ways. Very few people are ever allergic to potatoes as well. Anyway, that's thank you for Mr. Bloxham from Bay House School. Thank you, you were good guys, well done.